everyone. In today's video we're going to take a bit of a look back at what we looked at last week with opposite versus alternate leaf arrangement, and I'm also going to talk a little bit about compound versus simple leaves, and we'll see what else we can find out here in the woods today. So first I'm going to turn the camera around and let's look up what I've got here. I'm going to reach up and grab a branch if I can. There we go. So what I'm looking at here are the leaves of a red maple tree, and the wind is kind of blowing here, but if we can get these to stay still for a second, we will see the opposite arrangement of the leaves along this new twig. And these leaves and this new shoot just popped out of a bud this spring, and look at how developed the leaves are already. It's amazing. But maples are one of the groups of species that have oppositely arranged leaves. And if you find a tree that has oppositely arranged leaves, it really helps to narrow down your choices, because they are definitely in the minority. Most of our native Ontario deciduous tree species, or the broad-leaved deciduous trees, have alternately arranged leaves. So if you find something that's got opposite leaf arrangement like this, you know that it's going to be a maple, or possibly an ash, or possibly something shrubby. Okay, so there are several shrubs that have oppositely arranged leaves. The only one that really gets to be tree-sized is the eastern flowering dogwood, which is pretty rare throughout most of Ontario, and only really found in the deep south of Ontario. And that's the only dogwood that you might find that would be in tree form. But sometimes we use a mnemonic. We say MAD for maple ash dogwood for things that have opposite leaves. There are other tree species like horse chestnut, which is not native but also has oppositely arranged leaves. And there's another native called Ohio buckeye, which is a relative of horse chestnut, that is native to Ontario, but again kind of rare and found mostly in the deep southern parts of the province. Okay, so here we have our oppositely arranged maple leaves. Let's just go over here a little bit. I've got some sugar maple here too that is doing the same as the red maple. What's interesting about this time of year, and sometimes also about trees that are growing in the shade, is that sometimes the shoots, the new shoots that have popped out of the buds that are going to turn into twigs and later turn into branches, they may be just starting to lengthen or elongate, and they may not really, it may be a little tricky to really tell whether the leaves are opposite or alternate from each other along the twig. So just be aware at early in the season that it may be a little bit tricky to tell sometimes, because the shoots just have not elongated all the way. So you can see here with this sugar maple, the shoot is still pretty short. We can see, you know, there's one pair of oppositely arranged leaves and another pair of oppositely arranged leaves, but the shoot really hasn't lengthened to give us a really clear pattern. But anyway, the maple leaves kind of give it away here for this this sugar maple. Okay, there's another. So the maples have oppositely arranged leaves, as opposed to, we're going to walk over here and look at a young American beech tree. So here we have a young American beech with leaves arranged alternately, so not in pairs up the stem. And I know I have a little oak around here somewhere too. Let's see if I can see it. Maybe not, but I want to show you another example of oppositely arranged leaves. Okay, so here we have, there's a couple of points to make with this little tree here. Here we have a white ash tree, so this is an ash. Again, there are several species of ash in Ontario, and they also have leaves that are arranged in an opposite manner along the twig, along the shoot. What's interesting about ash is it kind of takes us into our next our next set of features that we're going to look at, which is whether the leaves are simple or compound. Another term for compound leaf is a divided leaf. So contrary to the maple that we looked at, where we've got our standard maple leaf shape that we're all used to, the ash leaves are broken into parts called leaflets. Okay, so these smaller leafy structures here that I'm pointing to with my thumb are actually the leaflets, and together they join on to this leaf stalk and they make one big leaf. Okay, so the trick is, how do you tell what is the leaflet and what is the leaf. If you are going through a field guide and it's asking you, or it's telling you what the characteristics of the leaves should be, you kind of need to know the answer to that question. Because if you look at this leafy thing here and think, well, that's the leaf, it's kind of oval and pointy on the end and there's no teeth, you might be very misled, because really the whole leaf starts down here where I'm pointing with my finger, and it comes all the way along and includes all these little structures we call leaflets. So the surefire way to tell if you're looking at a leaf or a leaflet, so to tell whether you have a compound leaf or not, is to look at where the leaf stalk joins the stem of the tree, and see those little tiny, see that light colored structure down there and on the other side too? Those are the buds for next year's shoots. And those are called axillary buds because they're found in the axil of the leaf stalk, or the petiole, and the stem, or the twig. So looking for those axillary buds will tell you where the leaf actually begins. If I'm thinking, I wonder if one of these little structures is the leaf, I can look down here at this little stem here and look closely, and I won't find a bud. I don't know how well you can see that with this camera, but you can practice this on trees that you might see around, again, that you have around where you live. You won't find that axillary bud there. So because it's missing from here, but it's present down here, that tells you that the leaf actually starts here, and this whole structure is the leaf with many leaflets on it. Okay, so that's a compound leaf or a divided leaf, and using a field guide or a key to Trees of Ontario, you're going to come across a question that will ask you whether you have a simple leaf or a compound or divided leaf, and you need to know the answer to that question. And there are a few different groups of species in Ontario: the ashes, the hickories, the black walnut and butternut, and numerous shrubs that all have a divided leaf.